I went to Venezuela to chase classic airplanes, and what I found was a big surprise. I've been here before, and I've always loved this country and its people, but I'd become convinced it just wasn't possible to visit at this point. You know all those travel warnings saying, "Do not go to Venezuela"? Well, stick around for this video and you tell me whether you think they're painting an accurate picture. Before coming here to Venezuela, I heard nothing but awful things about the situation here, and indeed it has been very bad, difficult, continues to be difficult for many here. Around 8 million people have left this country. I don't want to get into the specifics of all of that in this video. With government travel warnings so severe, saying do not go there, it's too dangerous, essentially. With what you see generally in the media by Venezuela not painting a pretty picture, I wanted to come here and ask the question, should you visit Venezuela? Or should you just stay away like everyone says you should? Is it really that bad? And I think the result will really surprise you. It definitely surprised me. In honor of the Tiburones de la Guaira, and to maybe subvert expectations further, why don't we start off with a baseball game? As I write this, the Tiburones have just defeated the Dominican Republic's team in the Caribbean Series Championship in Miami. Before this, the Tiburones, or Sharks, hadn't won a Venezuelan League championship since 1986, so it was so much fun to get to see them when they were a few games away from doing that, and eventually winning the whole thing in early February. This is definitely unlike any baseball game I've been to in the US. The vibes at this game, I think, say a lot about the vibes in Venezuela right now. There's a palpable feeling of things having changed there, and we left the stadium at night amid a mass of people and found no sketchiness, felt no concern, none of the kind of thing you'd probably associate with being out at night in Caracas, especially surrounded by lots of people. It was all just great vibes. And their mascot is crazy. Although my good friend Emiliana did comment that the pepitos, the amazing sandwiches you get on the street all over town here, had been shrunken here, gentrified as she put it. Now costing $8 for a pretty small thing, it's true. And kind of reminiscent of prices at a US ballpark, really. Sorry I didn't film that, so you'll have to take my word for it. So that's a little disappointing, but this was pretty much the only thing I was disappointed by during 5 days in Venezuela, so I think we're still doing okay. And that brings us to one thing you should know. The economy here has basically been dollarized now, and that means it's not very cheap. You can expect to pay similar prices to major world cities all over Venezuela. And you'll need dollars, though credit cards do work in many places. And the smaller the bill, the better. There is a chronic shortage of small bills here, so don't show up with a stack of Benjamins. People will thank you for it. Okay, so next up, let's go get some cachitos at the Flor de Altamira bakery. You can actually get all kinds of things here, sandwiches, pizza, juices. The cachitos are made with this super soft dough and then filled with all kinds of things. Totally delicious. And no trip to Caracas is complete without a visit to the 360 rooftop bar. The drinks are good, but they're secondary to these views. They also have very tasty tequeños, basically cheese-filled bread, but this is the best version of that I've ever had. So the reason I'm here, which you'll already know if you follow the Flight Radar 24 channel, is to try and fly the 737-200. And I did end up managing to do so. On the way, I flew on the Avior 737-400 as well, spent time with their 200, which is in maintenance, and getting an amazing new livery. And finally, I showed up at the airport on my second to last morning there and caught a 200 operated by Venezolana.
Como el virus, ¿no? Eso. I get a little bonus time after everyone deplaned because everyone here on board, the crew, are so friendly. They saw my interest and yeah, walking around the plane without anybody on it on this classic thing, the oldest commercial plane currently flying in the world. I'm not sure if that includes props or not, but anyway, it's about 45 years old. This is such a treat to be able to ride this plane before it disappears forever.
It was stupendous. And did I mention how many gorgeous classic planes there are to look at Caracas Airport? It's unreal. And if you're an av geek, it's worth coming here just for this. But then you get this amazing travel experience alongside, like icing on the cake, with no other tourists basically. In doing all that, I also ended up spending a night in Barcelona, a port city a half-hour flight to the east of Caracas. Or rather, I stayed in Lecheria, which is the nice area by the sea just to the north, about 20 minutes from the airport. It is very Caribbean in a way that Caracas is not, and you get that perfect sunrise light that I've been missing so much back in Swedish winter these past months. Now back in Caracas, another thing that needs to happen if you're visiting is you need to go to a stall on the street and get a hot dog with everything on it. There's so many sauces you can then add on, it gets kind of crazy, but just roll with it. And you need to get it with maltin, a kind of non-alcoholic malt beverage, kind of sweet but not overly. Okay, so next, you may have noticed the mountain that towers over Caracas. It's called El Ávila, and it's a key character in any Caracas visit because it's always kind of there, rising above you. But also, it's an amazing place to hike, and this evening there's going to be a full moon, so the plan is to get up there for sunset and watch the moonrise. You'll need to get a hold of a 4x4 and a driver to take you up to the village of Galipan, and then further down that road a little bit to this trailhead that will take you up the mountain at a reasonably brisk pace in about an hour or maybe an hour and a half. On the way, you might want to pick up some sandwiches to take up the mountain with you. And here, let's take a little pause to appreciate these pups.
Hi. Hey, puppies. Hey, puppies. Whoa. Hi, puppies. You're fun. Hi. Oh.
Okay, let's do this climb. The amazing thing about this is you're perched up here with the city to one side and the Caribbean Sea to the other. And there's just a special feeling up here. I think the cliffs speak for themselves. So there you go, just a little slice of life as a visitor in Caracas right now. As you can see, it was full of nice vibes, great people, good food, and of course, there's way more you can do here and I only scratched the surface. But I hope it maybe shows you something that you didn't expect.
No way. Oh, wow. That's no fair.
If you're thinking about visiting, Americans will find it hard to get a visa right now, if not impossible. But if you have a passport from just about anywhere else, it's all very easy. And don't believe the mostly incorrect info out there about documents needed to enter the country. Just come with a return ticket and a place to stay and you'll be good. Thanks for coming along.
Venezuela.
Venezuela!